So let's go back. We said high-tech marketing is different. You know, you used to learn, you know, 3 C's and STPs and 4 P's, right? Right? From the marketing. You used to know those things. You used to learn. They are so important. And actually, historically, the story goes like this. In the 50s and 60s, when the market was expanding, at that time, people were there to buy the products. So products were just making a product was so important. And make the price right and put it into the right place. And make a promotion, they will buy. That's 4 P's. That's 50s and 60s and up to early 70s. But 70s, when there was an oil shock, you know, market did not behave with the 4 P's. So people begin to discuss how to segmentize the market. That's what SDP began. Segmentation is everything because people are not buying the product. Even the price is there. Even the products were there. So 4 P's are not working anymore. So they had this, STPs. In the 80s, however, new technology came out with the computers and all that. You know, the market did not behave the way it is with the segmentation. The market seems to be totally different with the, new technologies. That's how high-tech marketing began. The concept of high-tech marketing began. Still, we discussed about STPs and 4 P's, and still 4 P's is important. But, you will learn in this class, they are not, in high-tech marketing, they are different. High-tech markets behave differently from traditional markets. So that's what we have discussed last time. So we discussed what are the high-tech products. High-tech products. We call high-tech product when the market is uncertain and technology is uncertain. The thing is, you don't know the technology. You don't know what is in it. Then how would you develop a product? The market, the technology is also uncertain. Say you have artificial intelligence. You want to have artificial intelligence in mousetrap. So the artificial intelligence machine, a little gadget with the artificial intelligence actually can trace the mouse and capture them. And that kind of technology, you don't know, right? You don't know that kind of technology can capture. That's so uncertain. Technology is so uncertain, right? If when you go say, technology is uncertain, technology uncertain does not mean you don't know the technology. The market may not know the technology, but you have to know technology yourself. It is the one you know better than anybody else. That's the technology that is uncertain. That is experience with me. I was in graduate school. I studied I studied artificial intelligence at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and at that time, I thought better product with a high tech, beautiful technology can bring the customers in. They will call me if I make a beautiful product with a high tech, right? That never calls you. I wrote a product. My first product, I can teach you how products can fail in the market all the time because I failed so many times. My first product was a market analysis tool, market analysis program So what it does is that at that time, that, I can make a platform, a beautiful platform for commodity analysis, market analysis. So what you do is that you can configure the entire market. Then you can, for each commodity, you can have a little modules in and change that application into different markets. So for example, my first product was, coal market analysis program. That I had a platform by having coal market module in, I can have a, coal market analysis program right there. I could configure entire demand market in the world, entire supply market in the world, and I can find the equilibrium. And boom, that's the price of a coal market of year 2014, for example. I could have that. That was my first product. My product was, at that time, the new technology was object-oriented programming. If you use object-oriented programming, you can have a platform just like that. So beautiful, conceptually so beautiful. The technology was so advanced. The concept was there, theory was there. I was really good at it. I was really good programmer. Not anymore. I don't write. I was a really good programmer. I made a real good platform and boom and all that. So technology, I knew technology, but uncertainty was there because no PC was able to take my computer, my concept in. So I had to make a lot of, negotiation with the current technology at that time. The biggest problem was Bill Gates. Bill Gates. I hate Bill Gates because Bill Gates, he thought no computers can have memory more than 640K bytes. 640K bytes. Somehow it was in the news magazine. He himself said, no, we don't need to have computers having more than 640K bytes. That is enough. No, Bill Gates. He said that. That's so stupid. But he said that. That's why I hate this Bill Gates, because he ruined my business. So what happened? What happened was I developed this product, negotiating. I write a program, to go over 640 kilobytes. You see, 640 kilobytes is so small in these days. You are not in your desktop in these days. You are not having 600. No one talks about kilobytes, right? We talk about megabytes. No, we talk about gigabytes. Now we're talking terabytes in these days, right? No. Stupid Bill Gates ruined my business. But anyway, guess what? I was so technologically advanced. I knew everything. But the uncertainty was like that. Someone else is blocking you. Bill Gates, So I developed the product. Developing the product was so difficult. It took me a year or two to finish the product, my first product. I made it. You see, I made it. It was beautiful. It was slow. Terribly difficult. Now my plan was making coal market module in, and now crude oil market module in, corn market module in. All that is to be done, right? Only if my first product can be sold good. No. My product was working, nobody was buying. I sold 5 copies over 5 years. 5 copies. Over 5 years. 1 a year, So I quit. So that was my first failure. So when it comes to uncertainty, You know, that's the kind of difficulties you're going to have. You know everything, even if you feel like you know everything. Even if your engineers know everything. You know, if it is not done, that belongs to high-tech marketing. That belongs to high-tech market. The problem is, you feel like you know everything. You feel like your engineers know everything. But when you know that you don't know anything about the technology, it's not high-tech. You have to know the technology yourself. You have to know inside and out. So because there are other factors that actually brings you uncertainty. So when you do the business, I don't know how many of you are engineers here, or how many of you are marketing people. Yeah, don't leave everything with the engineers. Engineers, they like new things. They always want to put rocket science in the mousetrap, you see. The thing is, mousetrap. People will never buy mousetrap with a rocket science in. Because $1 thing works very nicely. But engineers, they always want to have new gadgets, new things in. Here, I have a mousetrap with a rocket science in. They will come to you. And I promise that they will come to you saying like that, you see. And I was once an engineer. And I still feel like I'm an engineer, you know. So I try to modify myself once in a while because I love new things. But, you know, that's the fallacy of high-tech product, you know, technology, uncertainty. But anyway, that's what we see from technological uncertainty, and market uncertainty goes the same thing, you know. Market, you'll ask to the customers, you want to have this product. You will do the survey. You see? You will do the survey to the customers. Customers do not know what they need. The problem is high-tech. When it comes to high-tech, it's so new that customers do not know what they need. You see? For example, one good example is hard disk drive. You know, a company called Seagate was the biggest hard disk drive manufacturer in 1980s. They invented a small disk drive called 3.5-inch disk drive. At that time, 5.25-inch disk drive was the one in the market that is standard. They developed a new product, 3.5-inch disk. That's a hard disk drive. And they surveyed the people. Do you want to have smaller hard disk drive? It happens to be, you know, happens to have a little less storage than the 5.25-inch disk drive. Would you buy that? In fact, you know, 5.25-inch disk drive holds about 20 megabytes. And, you know, little disk drive, 3.5-inch disk drive, holds about 10 megabytes. Would you buy this? And would you want to have a lighter hard disk drive? And you run market survey with the people, customers. You run with your best customers. You know, those customers are buying 1,000 units a year or 10,000 units a year. And they run this, you know, surveys with the best customers because what you're going to have is that you're having manufacturing line. You have to spend millions and millions of dollars in one line. Now, if you want to change that with a 3.5-inch disk drive, that millions and millions of dollars, you have to replace that with another one. Would you invest that? Well, survey said no. People said no. I don't want to have new hard disk drive. I want to have just, in fact, if you have a desktop computer on your desk, still the standard is 5.25-inch disk drive. That's still the standard. After 20 years, we are still using 5.25-inch disk drive as a standard. And people, because it is standard frame disk drive, if you go, you know, desktop, it is this much. And one slot is this much, and that's 5¼ inch disk drive that actually goes in. Boom, it fits very well. If you want to put 3½ inch disk drive, you have to have a little sleeve there. You have to put a little sleeve and insert 3½ inch disk drive there. And that is a waste of space. So people said, no, I don't want to have that. That's a market survey. So Seagate people said, no, we don't want to invest a 3½ inch disk drive. Because it is 5¼ inch disk drive is giving them hundreds of millions of dollars every year as a revenue. Why would they change? No reason to change, right? No reason. I'm not going to change it. That you will probably have to, we will probably end up saying that. Because customers, they do not know what they need. The result was, about 2 years later, the market totally shifted to 3½ inch disk drive. End up that Seagate company, the company itself, going south and bankrupt at the end. That becomes the result. The thing is, customers, they do not know. Market is so uncertain. They don't even know. They don't even know. They want to have 3½ inch disk drive down the road. They don't know. They will say no. They will. No, I don't want to have anything. I don't want to have changed. I don't want to have. This is the standard I have. Hey, to have 3½ inch disk drive that is a smaller, needs extra sleeves and that. I don't need to have that. The story is, however, that desktop computer is no more standard anymore. It is the notebook computers coming down within 2 years. And notebook computers, they don't want to have big, chunky, 5¼ inch disk drive. 3½ inch disk drive became the standard. And now with the 3½ inch disk drive standard, everyone, even desktop people, they are putting 3½ inch disk drive in their desktop computers. Even using the sleeves. They did not mind to use sleeves. The story was those engineers that developed a 3½ inch disk drive, they quit the job. They went out and they founded a new hard disk drive company called Connors Peripherals. Guess what? They become the dominant, supplier of the market. So the question is like this: did the managers of or decision makers of Seagate make a mistake? It is hard to tell. Would you spend millions and millions of dollars to extra manufacturing line, whereas that current manufacturing line brings you billions of dollars? It's so difficult, right? However, that actually kills your company if you don't follow the high-tech technology, right? So market is so uncertain. The customers do not even know. So that's the difficult part of high-tech marketing, the high-tech markets. How would you follow that? How would you predict? How would you forecast? People will need this or needs that. Or how would you persuade the people they need this product, right? So Steve Jobs was very good with it, right? Steve Jobs, in fact, there was tablet computers before iPads, right? Remember, iPad was the one. That is, he showed up with the iPad, just like he showed iPads that he pretended he invented a new computer. He called it iPad. But think about it. iPad, it is actually Tablet computer, we knew tablet computers were there in the market, right? He successfully disguised tablet computer into a computer called iPad. He didn't even try to call tablet computer, and he called a new name, iPad. And everybody in the world was using the word iPad. You still feel like those Apple people, they feel like, iPad computer is totally different from tablet computers. I'm sure they still do that, right? But let's think about it. It's iPad is a tablet computer that was existing, that has been existing since 1980s. But boom, Steve Jobs was so successful. It became instant success. Instant success. He created a market. New market, that is. That was, nobody envisioned. Is it iPad high-tech market product? That's a good question, right? But I will say it was a high-tech product. Because the market itself it is not uncertain. Even if there was a market, he created a new market. Technology was there, right? But he made it different. He made the technology, he somehow renovated the entire technology, made it available, different from the existing tablet market, somehow. And he was successful making, cosmetic changes, right? So iPad is an interesting product, a success in high-tech marketing, a success. You have to have that. You have to have, when you do the high-tech marketing, somehow you have to have uncertainty has to be somehow minimized, right? Somehow minimized. Still, it has to give you the feeling of high-tech, because high-tech, when you try to disguise your product into a high-tech market and create a new market, that's your market. Traditional market is what? Traditional market is for divide and own. So that's what market segmentation works. You divide, try to make a little segment there, and try to attack that market. That's market segmentation. Right? High-tech market is different. You create and own. That's the concept. That's the important concept. That's how the high-tech market is different from traditional marketing. Let me see. We are marketing sources of market uncertainty. There are so many uncertainties. Actually, we can have a better understanding of those things. PlayStation. We'll discuss the PlayStations later on. So, say for example, you want to have a little artificial intelligence and rocket science into a vacuum cleaner. How many uncertainties would it have? Artificial intelligence, robot thing that cleans your room. That'd be beautiful, right? If it is working. You don't want broom anymore. But the thing is it going to be a function? Is the functions? Is it going to work? Is the current computer technology work with your artificial intelligence? Chance is it'd be very difficult. Remember, artificial intelligence technology is here. We are using a lot of field that is with artificial intelligence, right? Many of you remember, or many of you know that computers have won against chess champions, right? When chess competition. Also, artificial intelligence called Watson played a game called Jeopardy, if you know what Jeopardy is. It's a quiz game that is pretty popular in USA. It is very difficult quiz game. So a game called Jeopardy and quiz game, that Jeopardy, Watson, compete against the human champions. So obviously Watson won against the human champions. Sorry. Quizzes and play chess and all those. They are actually challenging the humans. That it doesn't mean that it will work in your that artificial intelligence technology can work in your cleaners, because your little robot cleaning machine. It doesn't mean that, because in the cleaning machine there, it has to be, first of all, the chip has to be cheap. The memory is not going to be that much, because it has to be affordable, right? You cannot use, I'm sure Watson will have probably exabytes of memory there to compute all that, right? Exabyte being what? 10 to the 21 power. So exabyte or zettabyte is 21 actually. Exabyte is 10 to the 18th power. So what is a terabyte? Something in between. Terabyte, quadrabyte, I don't know. Exabyte and zettabyte, right? Hey, you know that, right? Kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes. What is the next one? Terabytes, 4. I need tera is 3, right? 4 is 1. That's why I said quadrabytes. That's wrong. Obviously wrong. I feel like it is wrong. Tetrabyte. What is that? 5 is exa. Right? 5 is, I think 5 is exabytes. But anyway, exabytes 10 to the 18th, right? So, Watson could have used the 10 to the exabytes, 10 to the 18th power of memory to win against the people, against the human champions. Now in this little machine, you cannot use exabytes of memory, right? So what you have to have, you will have to work with the kilobytes. You will suffer from the memory of kilobytes, still working as artificial intelligence, cleans your room. That is not going to work. That, I don't know if you can put artificial intelligence technology in it, that you will make a lot of money. But the thing is, when you compromise all those things, will it function as promised? Right? We know it is going to be high tech. And we know that technology, if there's this machine, cleaning machine, robots, artificial intelligence robot, cleaning machine, would it have a side effect? For example, you can just you can just make one saying, what if it cleans the water? It will, electrocute the entire house, right? If it cleans our water, would it stop cleaning the water, or would it go into the water and electrocute himself, or make a fire himself, right? If it is electric system, that what if he goes and jump into the water? What is it going to be? Well, it is not jumping into the water. It is, if water there, part of water there. What if you just go in, and will it stop before going into the water? Side effects, it'll burn itself and you'll make a fire. That kind of side effect could be possible. And that if you find any side effect just like that, you may have invested billions of dollars into it. You're done. right? You're done. You cannot get out of it. Just like what Toyota had. Toyota had a new brake system a few years ago, right? New brake system that doesn't work. That actually had, acceleration in the highways, right? That's Toyota had a few years ago. So someone in the highway, the family was of 4, I think. And, daddy was driving the car and he wanted to slow down. The car did not slow down, and it was actually picking up the speed as he pressed the brake even harder. So he called the emergency number 911. And it was recorded in the 911, right? And guess what? And because of that, this family of 4 died in the accident. And that was recorded entirely. Usually that's acceleration so far. Before then, it was a driving, we thought it was driving mistakes, right? But it was right, recorded there. And, tragically, about 4 people died at the scene, and they're all recorded. That, the technology was there, new brake system was there. They had the brake, that doesn't work, and that side effect. If you have that kind of side effect, you're done, right? Of course, Toyota came back because Toyota is a much bigger company. But if you have that kind of mistakes, you are done. In fact, you may get arrested and stay in jail because of your technology killing people, right? And the thing is, could delivery can be done on time. PlayStation, the slides before this, actually was the one PlayStation. Sony had this PlayStation. They thought they have a PlayStation, be released by sometime, early March. And that didn't happen until November. And that happens almost all the time because they are putting so many things inside of a little box. And engineers, they think they can put everything on time. So easy. Hey, it's so easy. I can put this in. I can write the programs in 2 days. And I can do that. Engineers come to you and always say that. It can be done in 2 days. Don't trust it. Okay? Engineers don't trust engineers. Because they have to negotiate a lot of things in it. They have to do a lot of things in it. So Sony Station 3, particularly Sony PlayStation 3, they made a mistake and they announced one was March, and yet the real product was delivered in November. So in between, if the problem is if you announce a new product, PlayStation 3, then old product, PlayStation 2 doesn't sell anymore. You see, if you have announcement, hey, PlayStation 3 is coming this month, then it immediately kills the old product, kills the market of the old product, and people stop buying. That actually happens. So if you don't deliver for 6 months, 7 months, in this case, 8 months, then instead of Sony, they would, the customers begin buying something else, right? Nintendo Wii, or all those things, Xbox 360, and those are the ones enjoyed that delay of the products. So that delivery time is so important. I mean, it is very difficult to meet the delivery time. And of course, if it is a new product, You have to educate the customers. Customers will never know what is in it. They're not going to study your product unless you teach them. You see? And how would you teach your customers? To teach them, your distributors must learn them first. And you have to bring all those distributors in and teach them. That kind of things. What if your distributors do not know much? Even if you put high-tech, artificial intelligence inside, it is not going to be utilized by your customers. Customers will never know the value of your product, and that actually kills your product. Right? And commoditized, it could be commoditized so fast, right? For example, in good example could be something like smartphones. Smartphones. Compare that first computer that Macintosh had, 1984. No followers was in competition for about 10 years. But smartphones were different. Smartphones, Apple iPhone was there. After 6 months, Samsung just brought in a new smartphones, and they begin competing in the market. Right? Now Apple is doing that. I mean, Samsung was doing that. HTC was doing that. Now, in these days, smartphones are getting cheaper because now Chinese people are begin making the products. It'll become more cheaper now and be commoditized. It'll be penny pinching. The products, high-tech products usually have ample profits, big profits, right? Not anymore. If it becomes commoditized, it becomes penny pinching. You are trying to make a penny out of every product. In fact, traditional marketing products are usually for penny pinching. Usually when it becomes commoditized, right? Unless it is, of course, it has brand associated with it, right? If you do the branding done, then you have a little more profit. But if it is not, it is really generic product, then it becomes really penny pinching. Right? You're trying to make a sub pennies. I was in that kind of market a long time ago. I was in telecom market. Well, my failures, so many failures, I can tell you all that failures, how you can make failures. I'm so good at it. That's why I'm teaching. Those people who are successful, they're not coming to the classes. They go out and become Bill Gates and become philanthropist that donates tons of money here and there. I'm a good person. That's Bill Gates is doing, right? Philanthropist, if you become successful. If those people who are not successful come to the class, I made this failure, that failure. That's me, right? Okay, so market uncertainty. Now I have discussed technological uncertainty. Market uncertainty, I briefly discussed. Customers, they don't know what they need. They don't know what they want. So you have to outline yourself what needs the customers. I mean, what needs be fulfilled with your product that customers does not know. You see? Then the change will that needs. I mean, how that will needs change the future. I mean, how will that needs will be changed in the future? That people's needs will change in the future. And then now you have to begin working with the standards. because you want to rule the market. Usually a new product, when you make a new product, you will begin making standards. Then how, the standard, how the market will take your standard. Once the market adopts your standard, then you will enjoy the ride, right? But that doesn't usually happen. One good example is Sony made called the product called the Betamax. Betamax was the taping, little tape size. That tape size has to be this big and this thick. That's videotapes. They made a Betamax. That is when Sony made this product, they thought they were so overjoyed because they patented. They patented every pieces of that little taping thing. Tape cassette. And the standards were patented. Nobody will make a copy. Will market adopt to pay Sony? No. So stupid, right? But, engineers will think that, hey, this is patented. Now everybody in the world will have to pay me. They'll go say that, right? Guess what? People are not that stupid. They will not come to you and say, I have this patent, payment here. You get millions of dollars here. That is not going to be happen. But standard, if you're successful making a standard yourself, then you will be, easily a billionaires out of that, right? One example that I might take is that web pages, HTML, right? Web pages, you see? Tim Berners-Lee is the one designed www, right? You use www every day, right? In fact, you click www every day, every second in these days. And what if he patented that technology, HTML, and he wanted to have, hey, I want to have just 0.00001 penny out of every click. You see? Then he could have become billionaires every day, every second he could have made that big of dollars, right? He didn't do that. He just opened it. So standard. The thing is, if he patented it, it could never become a standard, right? But he just released it and opened it. So standard, and everybody in the world is using it. To me, Tim Berners-Lee is communist. I'm not going to release my technology for free to the entire world to use. What would you think? You will, if you invent a technology called HTML, www that is, would you open it for free? No. I'm so greedy, I don't want to have that. Yeah, unless, you are a communist, that you want to share everything with the world. There are so many communists in this world, and world is heading good because there are so many commies in this world. Good commies, good commies. One good commie, another good commie is a person called Richard Stanton. Richard Stallman, excuse me, MIT professor. He said, every software in this world has to be shared for free. Stupid, right? Would you share your product? It is not, HTML is one thing. You just spend a few hours and you can make HTML, right? But software applications, software products, you write software and let everybody else use it for free. Not only that, you have your source be released for free. Do you want to do that? No. I spend my, hours and hours of my sweat there. I lose my sleep overnight. And for free? Get out of here. I don't want to do that. But he's one of those good commies, Richard Stallman. Remember that guy? He actually made this open source movement. We are using so many good products in these days because open source products are there. Android, for example, you're using the software you're using. Android are from open source, right? So many products you're using every day. So many of them are based on, open source. That actually started it. So from him, Linux also began from that movement. He was the evangelist of this open source movement. Open source, Linux is the same thing, right? Linux, it is an operating system. And a guy called Linus Torvalds, he opened his core kernel of operating system. And he said, hey, I just developed my operating system. You can use it. Here's a source. Stupid, right? Commies. I call them commies. Good commies. But anyway, that's I was talking about market standards. Yes, market standard. I go so many different directions. But anyway, market standard. You have to somehow work with the standards, and you have to work with it. Sony, for example, that they failed with Betamax. All other worlds ganged up with a standard called VHS, and it was for free. So you still have VHS cassette. You may have VHS cassette in your home. That is a thing. No. Your parents. I say your parents have them. Not you, okay. VHS is a cassette that, that old, your parents used to use. I never used because I'm young. So that standard, all the entire world ganged up against the Betamax. They made a standard called, VHS, and entire world began using it. Guess what? Sony lost in the market because they had to scrap entire production line, entire manufacturing line. They had to, abandon the whole thing because they in the standard world they lost. They are lost in the world of standard. So nobody adopted their standards. That's what we are talking about. Now, if you have a new product, how fast your innovation will spread? That actually it becomes very important factor. It could be instant success or it could be instant failure. Usually it is in between. The thing is, however, when your product sells very well and becomes instant success, the chances you will go down. You will go south. We'll discuss that later on. How large is the potential market? You don't know. You don't know. That's a market uncertainty. And there are, traditionally we have been talking about market uncertainty and technological uncertainty. But there are people also talking about competitive volatility, because you don't know who is going to compete in the market. You feel like I'm the only one made this iPad. Guess what? 6 months later, Samsung was there and actually produced. Hey, this is actually tablet computer. That's 7-inch screen. 13-inch screen. We don't need to have 13-inch screen. We have 7-inch screen. Fast, competitors are coming in. Fast movers are coming in and compete against you. When you develop a product, high-tech product, you don't know who the market, competitors are. Because you don't see them. Even you don't even know customers will buy your product. No, right? If you know customers will buy your product, you will do that. Everybody in the world will begin developing the product, right? But people do not know. They don't even know. The customers, they don't even know they will buy this product 6 months later. So competition, what competition is in the future? And what kind of tactics you're going to use? And what product? Your product when you develop a product, your product can be classified in different markets, you see. It could be tablet computer, it could be totally new, iPad market. And you can make your product as a category, which way it is going to belong to. So you find the easy way to go to. That's what competition is. The thing is, you don't know. In general, you don't know what products you're going to compete against. Or of course, you have to try to, label yourself into different markets from traditional, from the traditional marketings and traditional markets. So what features make a high-tech marketing different? Of course, I said create and own. Not anymore. No segmentation anymore. STPs not working anymore. It is creation. You create and own. Just like iPads. He created a new market, right? Some people, you haven't heard this in your marketing classes. The marketing classes, professors in the marketing class, is talking about market drivenness. Your product has to be market driven or market, associated with the markets. Forget it. In high-tech marketing, well, you still have to see the market, but your customers will not really know. So because they don't know, they're not going to tell what kind of features they want to have. So you have to somehow make a decision yourself. The differences, traditional markets against high-tech markets. Differences. It is, we call it, traditional market, traditional product. When you develop a new product, it is continuous innovation. But, in high-tech markets, it is disruptive innovation. And somewhat lesser product. High-tech product usually begins with lesser product. It is stupid product to begin with. And they catch up. You see, just like hard disk drive, 3.5-inch disk drive. They don't even compete in capacity with a 5.25-inch disk drive. But later on, as 3.5-inch disk drive is getting hugely invested, 3.5-inch disk drive begin holding as much as 5.25-inch disk drives. So it becomes, high-tech products, they begin with a lesser product, much lesser in capacity, in functions, and those things, but they fastly catch up. Then the thing is, managers, would you invest onto this lesser product? If you don't, you will be gone. That's a problem. So, traditionally it is market pull and high-tech technology push. And traditionally it is reactive market, and high-tech it is proactive. And also Proactive being you are trying to, go beforehand that people want to have, before the people want to have, right? That's being proactive in the market. That actually happened once in the traditional market and badly failed. When Coca-Cola decided to change their recipe. Do you know that Coca-Cola wanted to change their recipe once and they badly failed? It is traditional that's how traditional market is. Hey, once, Coca-Cola, they felt, yesterday, in the last session, we discussed about this, Pepsi challenge, right? In the Pepsi challenge, what Pepsi did was challenge the taste. You forget about the brand and, we blindfold and try this taste. And if the taste, which one tastes better, you make a judgment. And interestingly, people chose Pepsi over Coke, So what happened? Several years later, the market was changing dramatically. So what they did, Coca-Cola decided, management probably thought the same. They went to Pepsi challenge and they drank the Pepsi and they thought, my God, Pepsi is a lot better. I'm sure they did. And then what happened was they decided to change the recipe of Coca-Cola to different recipe. They called it New Coke. And they decided to change entire production line. And they announced that, dang, new Coke is coming. And they had a big commercial. And everything was for this commercial was all how good the new Coke is, how good the taste is, and all that. The thing was, people didn't buy. You see, Coke in the traditional marketing, it is just Coke is Coke. People drink Coke because they like the taste. They don't drink Pepsi, because it is different. Coke is Coke. Coke customers began protesting the new Coke. In fact, they're going demonstration against the Coca-Cola company. Funny, huh? Funny. Would you go demonstration against a company and say you demand all the traditional Coke in the store? People did that. That's how traditional market, you cannot be proactive just like that in the traditional marketing side. You see? So what happened was, Coca-Cola had this entire, product line now went back to the traditional, classical, old, traditional Coke recipe, and they began producing Coca-Cola Classic. So they had new Coke and also Coca-Cola Classic. Guess what? Later on, new Coke disappeared and Coca-Cola Classic. Just people, the Coke you're drinking is the old traditional classic Coke. Happy ending, huh? But that's how you can be. You cannot be proactive in the traditional marketing, right? So that's a traditional difference between traditional marketing and high-tech marketing. Usually, traditional marketing products, they have long lifespan. Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola. They will never disappear, right? They will never disappear. As long as people living in this world, Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola, right? Product life cycle never stops. But product, you see, products, in high-tech marketing, they will disappear. They will disappear. For example, I don't know what has been disappeared. For example, company called Digital Equipment, DEC, or Sun Microsoft Systems. Sun Microsystems had there's some computer called workstations. They are entirely gone. Products are gone. Products disappear in high tech, but in low tech, traditional marketing, they don't disappear. They will stay there forever. If you want to make a product, something in traditional market will work very nicely in long run. But if you make a huge money, ample money right here, that's a high-tech product, right? And strategy, of course, that traditional marketing, it is usually below a red ocean that is highly competitive. It is really penny pinching. And blue ocean market is new market that to be created. 받아왔어요? Hey, actually, what happened was this class. The last time when I was lecturing, this class is so long. I have to keep going back and be shouting, screaming to the class. So I requested a microphone so that I can walk around with a microphone, and I requested high-tech, cordless microphone. But guess what? The university is not high-tech, so they did not have a cordless microphone. So I have to have a long. I asked her to get me long cable cord so that I can walk around with a cord. Anyway, so that's what it is. Usually traditional market is market pull. Market will determine what you have, but in technology, high-tech market is more technology push. You are going to push the market. You will teach the people that you want to have a tablet computer on your daily lives. That people will, begin, talking about. You will have to educate the people. That's technology push. The thing is, market-drivenness is wrong. What I'm saying here is that people will say they don't want to have your product. People will say they don't want to have your product. Or they will, when they hear, they might love your product. The thing is, customers will never know what you are talking about. Say when people are using, feature phones, you will go. If you go ask people, hey, do you want to have telephones this big? They will say, no, I don't want to have telephones this big. It doesn't go into my pockets. But in these days, people begin using bigger phones because they are not doing, telephone calls are less important. Right? Think about it. A few years ago, telephone calling was the one actually people using. Not anymore. So a few years ago, if you go to customers and say, do you want to have this big telephone? And they will go, are you crazy? I'm not having that. They will say that, right? They actually do that. They actually do that to you. Hey, I am developing this for 3 years from now. That will be available for 3 years from now. That is, I'm going to have, 7-inch screen. Actually, this is 5-inch screen, whatever. I don't know. Hey, I want to have 5-inch screen. And they'll go, oh, you stupid people. And they're stupid guy developing this big screen. They will say that, right? So people will never understand what you're trying to do. If they do, it is not high-tech, you see? If they understand, it is not high-tech. right? The thing is, still, however, my God, let's forget it. I hate my microphone voice. You know, my voice is still good enough. But the thing is, I have to keep screaming. So you know, still you have, even if customers do not know what you're trying to do, what you have to do is that you have to still, you have to, you know, find out what customers want. That's the difficult part. When they don't understand, they will say no. Even if they say no, you have to find what they want out of your product. And invite the customers. What you have to do is that you invite the customers if they want to have this. Customers as co-creators. They would love to do that, you see. That's one, you know, one example was the one that I had this, you know, video clip that is about Mindstorm. Who are playing with the Mindstorm in these days? Lego Mindstorms? Come on, you guys. God, you guys are so bad. Lego Mindstorms, no? God. Mindstorm, yes. Woo! One person. You know, Mindstorm is a very interesting product. Lego made this little product that is programmable. They wanted to control the entire thing, right? They released it and they had people begin buying it. One guy actually hacked their code and began developing his own. So it was in the beginning. I think it was some other name. And guess what? And you know, Lego people actually tried to stop that guy, hack the entire code, and developing his own. Later on, they changed their mind and have invited this guy and developed an entire new line that became a new product called, you know, Mindstorm. I guess someone has to go, you know, do the research and discuss about Mindstorm, because Mindstorm is so exciting, so exciting. They make all different things, all different strange things, and it is very good educational tool in these days. When the high school, low, you know, and even primary schools, people are teaching Mindstorm as a way to, you know, develop an engineering mind. Programming, right? For programming, one of those programming, you know, skills by playing. You know, that's one of the important product. So this one is how this video clip is about this Mindstorm, you know, solving the puzzle. It is very stupid program that's trying to solve a puzzle, but looking at it, someone wrote the program. It's very interesting. You just click that and see it. Try to see that, okay? So try to see that. I'm not going to have enough time to, you know, see that, to play in the class. Well, I'm not going to discuss about this. Let's skip this class. Skip this slide, because this slide is not really important. Forget it. Now let's go discuss some stuff. iPad. I am going to discuss a few you know, example high-tech product. iPad. You know, iPad, once again, iPad was there. You know, tablet computers were there in the market. If you think about it, if you just, release iPads to compete traditional, tablet computers, it could be just one of those traditional marketing is, need to be implemented. But no, Steve Jobs, he's a genius guy, right? He's a genius guy. Even if he's dead, I'm so envy of him, I'm so jealous of him. Because he's my age, and he was so successful. I'm not. From my my long list of failures, he with us almost same period, same time that we lived. I'm here to teach, and he was so successful. Bad guy. But he made iPad entire new product. He created an entire new market out of this, right? He didn't go to compete against tablet computers. Tablet computers were there, and people will keep developing tablet computers at that time. And he goes and say, "Hey, this is iPad. Hey, this is not tablet computer." He never used the words tablet computers himself, creating a new market. Telephones, I'm not going to talk about Yahoo. Yahoo, do you think Yahoo is a high-tech, company? It could be. 1986, when I was 1992, 1991 or 2, 3, I don't know. I think it is 1993. Okay, 1993. Yahoo, at that time, everybody knew HTML. Hey, good old days, and everybody knew HTML. Every student were playing with HTML. If you know what HTML, who knows HTML? Okay, good. Yeah, HTML is HTML. HTML is a little document. It is, to me, it is. I don't want to discount the work of Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee, when you come to think of it, HTML is not really an innovative thing. It is just a copy of the ideas that has been existing beforehand, and program codes were there. You see, if you just sit down and think about it, HTML is nothing but a document having link to another document. That's all that is. Especially early version of HTML, www, that is. HTML is a document, nothing but a document with a link to another document. Do you agree with that? Should I repeat one more time? HTML is the web pages you are seeing is web pages you are reading every day is nothing but a document, computer document, with link to another document that points to another document. That's all that is. That's HTML. So, Tim Berners-Lee, what Tim Berners-Lee has done is not that impressive for those technology people. But, anyway, but Tim Berners-Lee is a great person. His product is inventive, very inventive. The thing is, what I want to say is nothing but, links with another documents. So now, with HTML released, Yahoo people, at that time, all the, undergraduates and graduate students, it was just easy to make HTML documents themselves, and they, made all those, strange pictures onto their website and trying to, make their look good on their documents. It is documents, right? HTML is document with a link to another. So that was the HTML documents. What people did, some of the graduate students, some of the students, graduate students, undergraduate students, graduate students, what they did was they tried to invite as many people possible, so they made interesting links as many as possible. So if they have interesting links, people making link to your pages. So you will spend overnight to make interesting links, after links, and try to organize. Now, having said that, using HTML, for those people who know what HTML is, it is not high tech. It's no tech. It's just document making, technology there. When you do this Microsoft Word, when you do the documents, is it high tech? No. But in 1993, making this web page was high tech. You see? And Yahoo was, those are Jerry Yang. Jerry Yang was spending nights after nights to make links to other links. That's my telephone, right? Sorry. So anyway, he was spending nights after nights making, making the links to other websites. That's all they did. In fact, that's their business model. Yahoo made a company out of that stupid technology there. We think it is pretty stupid in these days, because they were making, handmade web pages, making all the links to other pages. They make tons of money, because at that time, nobody knew what HTML was except a few graduate students and a few students, right? So that's what Jerry Yang did. So that's directories. They made directories out of it. They tried to organize all the links themselves by hand, manually. That is what Yahoo was. And until a few years ago, they were actually making directories just like that manually. They never were able to automate fully the making directories, Yahoo directories. Is it high tech? Still. Well, yeah, we say high tech. Because at that time, nobody knew except Jerry Yang and a few graduate students, a few students and college students and grades.
I have to go to my next class.
Oh, okay, done.